All right, class, today we are starting lesson 104, algebraic addition activity. So if you recall, the last time we did algebraic addition, we used the number line to add positive numbers and negative numbers together. Today we're going to be looking at these little boxes called screens that have positive and negative charges in them. So it's called the electric charge model, as you'll see on your screen, and it's used to represent the addition of positive and negative numbers. So what we're seeking to do here is we are going to cancel out pairs of positive and negative numbers, and whatever remains will be the charge, the number represented by the number. For example, so that might make 0 sense, but it will make sense by the end of the lesson. So let's look at our first screen here. And you'll also notice that we have different levels. So this can sort of be a game. There are 4 levels to it, and we're going to go through each level. And as we go through each level, it will make more and more sense how we add and subtract positive and negative numbers. So start with our first screen here. We're just going to jump right in. We don't have any mental math for this lesson, so we'll just get started. So we'll cancel out pairs of positive and negative numbers. So that pair will get canceled out. This is a positive and negative, so it cancels out. This is positive and negative, and it cancels out. So 2 positives remain. So that means there is a positive charge to this screen, okay? Because this is level 1 of learning about these, we're not actually looking at numbers, but we would just say this screen has a positive charge, okay? Let's look at our next screen, and remember we're just crossing out pairs of positive and negative numbers. That's all we're doing right now. So here's a negative, here's a positive. You could even cross them out one at a time. A negative, a positive, crossed out. Ooh, maybe we should do them together so it doesn't look like a plus sign. Here's a positive and a negative, here's a positive and a negative, and then I've got this positive and negative over here. So I'm just canceling those out. So what remains? 1 negative. So this screen has a negative charge. All right, let's look at our next screen. Canceling out pairs. So here's a positive and negative. Here's a positive and negative. Here's a positive and negative, and here's a positive and negative. And as you'll see, there are no charges that remain. So we'll say 0 remain. Now that's level 1 of the electric charge model. So you're just going through canceling out pairs of positive and negative. Let's move on to our next step, which we'll just say is level 2. Once again, the electric charge model. Now you'll see that we have some numbers in these screens that are getting attributed to the different boxes. So what we're going to do first is combine the numbers that have the same sign. So for example, we have a +3 and a +1. So let's add those together and we'll get a +4. Next we have a -5, a -2. So let's add those numbers together. So those added together is 7, and then we'll give it that negative sign because those are both negative. Okay. Next what we'll do is we will add together the numbers in the screen that remain. So what would a +4 and a -7 be together? So let's think here. There are more negatives than positives, so we'll have a -3. And if you recall from our first lesson on algebraic addition, you could picture a number line. So let's say we were at, I'm not even going to do the number line properly, but in your head, we're at +4. We're combining it with a -7, so we have to go back 7 units. That would bring us to -3, okay? So we're going to do a few more examples of this. Hopefully I wrote them out. I actually don't remember writing those out. Oh, I did. Yay. Okay. We'll do a few more examples of this. So in each box, what we're going to do is we are going to combine the similar numbers with the similar signs. So we'll add those numbers together. So 5 + 3 + 4 is going to be what? It's going to be 12. And that has a positive sign, so we'll give it a positive sign. And then 4 and 6 together are 10, and that has a negative sign. So what is positive 12 and negative 10 combined? So let's add these together. So either picture the number line in your head or draw one out. So positive 12 plus a negative 10 is going to give us a positive 2. All right, let's go to our middle screen here. Let's add all of our positive numbers together. 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. It's going to be a positive 10. And there's nothing negative, so that's just going to be our answer to that one, positive 10. And then our final one. So let's add our positive charges together. We have a positive 5. Let's add our negative charges together. We have a negative 5. So what's positive 5 plus negative 5? It is going to be 0. And of course, 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay, so this was just about combining numbers with the same charge. So positive charge, negative charge, and then seeing those two combined, what number we'd be left with. So this activity is normally done, of course, in class, and we would have done it a little differently than me just showing you on the screen. But for our purposes, this works, and it will get us to the same end goal, so it's all good. Now we're going to look at level 3 of this game. Positive and negative clusters, so that's what we'll call our little numbers combined, can be displayed with no sign, 1 sign, or 2 signs. So I'm going to show you the different combination of signs and what they ultimately represent. And we'll also see the term disguise thrown in here. So some of these ones that have like 2 signs, we'll say that they're in a disguise. And what we're going to do is look at what they really are. So let's look at our first example. We have this number here. We have a 3 with no sign, and that really means that it's a positive 3. Just like you've written your numbers your whole life without little positive signs, they were positive numbers. So without a sign, it means it's positive. Now let's look at this one. We have negative and negative. Actually, let's not look at those examples. I'll just write my own examples. We have negative, negative 2, and let's say positive, positive 2. Whenever you have the same sign, either both positive or both negative, it represents a positive number. Okay, so whenever you have double of the same sign, it represents a positive number. So far, no sign equals positive. Double of the same sign equals positive. And then also, a double negative when you have a parentheses will equal a positive. So those are the different ways positive numbers can be represented. With no sign, oh, that was a bad way to do it. With no sign, with double negatives, with double positives, or with double negatives with parentheses. Those all represent positive numbers. Now, our negative numbers are either going to flat out have a negative sign in front of them, like negative 3, that equals negative 3. Or they will have 2 signs that are opposite. So let's say we have plus negative 4. That's just negative 4. Let's say we have minus a positive 4. That's also just going to be a negative 4. And that's because these signs, although there are 2 of them, they are opposite signs. So it will end up with the negative charge. And the same thing is true if there are no parentheses. So if you see a number with both a positive and a negative sign in front of it, it really represents a negative number. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this screen here, and we're going to translate these so they have only 1 sign. Okay, so we're removing the disguises they have. So 3 really represents what? A positive 3. How about a positive negative 4? So remember, if it has a plus and a minus, it gets the negative charge. That was discussed right here. Not technically right here, but that's okay. It's all the same. Next, we have a negative and then parentheses, negative 5. So remember, If it's two of the same type of sign, it gets a plus charge. And then finally, we have negative and then in parentheses, +2. So remember, regardless of the parentheses, because there's one of each sign, it's going to get a negative charge. So now let's figure out the combination of these signs and what will remain in that screen. So let's combine our positive numbers. Let's combine our negative numbers. And then let's add these two together. So a +8 and a -6, that would be a +2. Okay? So that's level 3. Let's see, did I do another bit to level 3? I did not. It's level 4 time now, and that's great because level 4 is really what you'll see in math. What we're going to do is we're going to use the information we just learned in level 3 to remove the disguises from different lines of numbers. Okay? Remove the disguises from different lines of numbers. So let's go through these one by one. We have a -3, perfect. That can stay as it is. Now we have a plus and a -4. A plus and a -4. Remember, when you have two of the opposite signs, it will get the negative symbol. All right, next we have a negative and a -5. Regardless of its parentheses, if you have two of the same sign, it will become plus. All right, next we have a negative and a +2, a negative and a +2. So that's two signs that are opposite, so it's going to become negative. And then we have a +6. So whenever two signs are the same, it's going to have a positive charge. Okay? So that was removing the disguises. Now, you know order of operations. You could do this problem from left to right, just adding and subtracting. But what we're going to do is group forces. So that means we're going to combine all of our negative numbers, and then we're going to combine our positive numbers. So 3, 4, and 2 all together would be 9, and they all have a negative charge, so we'll do the negative. And then 5 and 6 together is 11, and that has a positive charge. So that just turned into -9 plus 11. So now you find what remains. What's -9 plus 11? In your head, remember, this will really help you picture yourself on a number line. You're at -9, and you're adding 11. So you're going in the positive direction, 11 spaces. You would end up at +2. That's what remains. All right. Or like I said, if you wanted to, with the original, after removing the disguises, if you wanted to go through from left to right, adding and subtracting, we would say -3 minus 4 is -7. -7 plus 5 is +2. +2, oh, something's wrong. -3 minus 4 is 7. -7 plus 5 is -2, that's why. -7 plus 5 is -2. -2 minus 2 is -4. -4 plus 6 is +2, which is what we got here. So maybe it is good that we did all these steps. So next is the practice set, but I think I'll do the first one with you, and then I'll let you work on the rest by yourself, just because this is kind of new, and it's, even though we went through that screen thing, I don't know how much it helped. So let's do a couple of these together. So I'm going to rewrite letter A. So the first thing we're going to do, look at all those signs. It's kind of messy. What we're going to do is called removing the disguises. So we're going to look at the numbers and the signs that precede them. And I'm just going to group them already to know that we're removing the disguises. So -2 remains as -2. A plus and a minus, remember, means it will get the minus charge. 2 of the same sign means it's a positive charge. And then 2 of opposite signs is another negative charge. Okay? So that's step 1, remove the disguises. Step 2 is to group forces. So whatever number is preceded by a minus sign, you'll combine those numbers. So 2 and 3 and 5 all together is 10. their sign was a minus sign, so we'll do that. And then combine the positive charges, so we only have that. So what is negative 10 plus 5? Something's wrong. Oh, look, this is great. I miss having you guys in class because you would have caught that immediately. I changed it from 4 to 5. Wow. So let this be a good reminder for all of us to really double check what we're writing. I don't know why I started writing 5 instead of 4. So now we have negative 10 plus 4, which is a negative 6. Yikes, that was pretty bad. So I will start giving you, I'll give you guys some time. Actually, let's do letter E together, and then I'll give you time to work on the rest. This time I hope I write all the numbers correctly. 3 minus negative 5 plus minus 4 minus plus 2 plus 8. So we'll look at each number and whatever signs are in front of them. So 3 has no sign in front of it, so we know it's positive. 5 has 2 of the same sign, so it's positive. 4 has 2 opposite signs, so it's negative. 2 has 2 opposite signs, so it's negative. And 8 has 2 positive signs, so it's positive. So we remove the disguises. Then we group forces. So we combine numbers that have the same sign in front of them. So 3 plus 5 plus 8 is 16, and it has a positive sign in front of it. And then 4 plus 2 is 6, and it has a negative sign in front of it. So what is a positive 16 and a negative 6 combined? It would be a positive 10. Okay? So go through B, C, D, and F. Remove the disguises, group forces, and then see what remains. And I know this is kind of like challenging, so maybe I'll just go through all of them with you, but take a few moments to figure them out. Pause the video. I'm going to start working on letter B. So hopefully you just paused and you worked through the practice set. You're really not helping yourself if you don't try these problems. So we've got negative 3 plus positive 2 minus positive 5 minus negative 6. First step, remove disguises. So negative 3 stays negative 3. A plus, so remember 2 of the same sign, it means it's plus. 2 opposite signs means it's minus. 2 of the same sign means it's plus. So that's removing the disguises. Combining forces. So we've got our negative numbers we want to combine, our positive numbers we want to combine. A negative 8 and a positive 8 is 0. So that's letter B. Letter C. Oop. All right, that was an exciting sign. I think my battery's about to die. Let's just fix that right away. Negative positive 6 plus positive 7 and minus negative 1. So first step is to remove disguises. Look at the signs that precede it. Positive 3 remains positive 3. 2 opposite signs means it's negative. 2 opposite signs means it's negative. 2 of the same sign means it's positive. 2 of the same sign means it's positive. Then we combine forces. So add all your positive numbers together. So 3 plus 7 plus 1 is 11. Add all your negatives together. 4 and 6 is 10. And then see what remains. So a positive 11 and a negative 10. If you combine those, you would get positive 1. I think I'm trying to rush for some reason, even though I have nowhere to be. Letter D. Let's work letter D over here, so we have some room. 2 plus a negative 3 minus a negative 9 minus a positive 7 plus a positive 1. First step, remove disguises. 2 is positive 2. 2 opposite signs is negative. 2 of the same sign is positive. 2 opposite signs is negative. 2 of the same signs is positive. Next, we add all of our numbers with the same sign. So a positive 2, a positive 9, and a positive 1. That's going to be a positive 12. Then our negative numbers. So a negative 3 and a negative 7 is a negative 10. So what is positive 12 minus 2, 10? I just said the answer. It's 2. And finally, letter F. We have in parentheses negative 10 minus a positive 20 minus a negative 30 plus a negative 40. First step is to remove disguises. So remember, that means to look at the signs that precede the number or go before the number. So negative 10 is simply negative 10. We have a negative and a positive 20, so opposite signs mean it gets to be negative. If it has 2 of the same sign, so negative and negative, means it's positive. And then opposite signs means it's negative. So then we group forces, so anything that has the same sign you combine. So what is 10 plus 20 plus 40? That's going to be 70, and it has a minus sign, so it is minus. And then we just have a positive 30. So what's negative 70? Ooh, I don't know what just happened. Negative 70 plus 30 is a negative 40. Okay. All right, so that was really messy, but I hope going through those practice set problems helped. And then your homework is written across the top there. You can also find that in the description of this video. You can find that back on Google Classroom, or you can find that on GradeLink. All right, so please let me know if you have any questions on this. I know this is sort of, I know this is a difficult topic because I've had students in Algebra 1, Algebra 2 who are still sort of confused by combining positive and negative numbers. So please let me know if you have any issues and let me know how I can help you. And I'll talk to you guys soon, all right?